In a football world driven by mega £1 million signings and manufactured stars, sometimes a player comes along who just feels a little bit different. A player who plays with soul, with artistry, with chaos in their boots, someone who makes the game feel alive again. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia didn't come from a famous academy, he wasn't hyped up on social media, and yet, within just a few years, he's become one of the most electrifying players on the planet. From the back streets of Georgia to the roaring cauldron of the Maradona Stadium, from Serie A dominance with Napoli to Champions League glory with PSG, Kvaratskhelia's rise has been meteoric, breathtaking, and totally unexpected. They call him Kvaradona. They compare him to George Best and Lionel Messi, but make no mistake, this is a player carving out a legacy of his own. So, how did a relatively unknown Georgian winger become the most feared wide player in Europe? How did Kvaratskhelia take over European football? Let's find out. To understand how Khvicha Kvaratskhelia became a footballing phenomenon, you have to start in the heart of Georgia, the capital city of Tbilisi. Born in February 2001, Khvicha grew up in a footballing family. His father, Badri Kvaratskhelia, was a professional player who spent much of his career in Azerbaijan. From the beginning, football wasn't just a game in the Kvaratskhelia household, it was a way of life. At age 11, he joined the youth academy of Dynamo Tbilisi, Georgia's most historic club. Coaches were stunned by his raw technical ability and confidence, but he didn't stay long. Seeking, of course, more playing time, he moved to Rustavi, where he made his senior debut at just 16 years old in the Georgian top flight. Even then, he wasn't a finished product. He was unpredictable, explosive, wild even, but there was a genius in that chaos. In 2019, at just 18, he took a leap that would change everything, a move to Rubin Kazan in Russia. Many young players would have folded under the physical and cultural pressure of that transition, but not Khvicha. In Kazan, he grew up fast. He played against seasoned defenders, learned how to handle tactical systems, and developed the kind of endurance needed to compete at a higher level. Over the 3 seasons, he matured into a genuine prospect, catching the eye of top European scouts despite playing in a league far from the spotlight. When you're looking at the style of play of a player like Kvaratskhelia, he's on paper a left winger, but in reality he's something more complex and a lot more dangerous. He's a throwback dribbler in a modern system, a creator with the soul of a street footballer and the brain of a tactician. Watching him is like watching 2 eras of football collide. Let's break it all down. Operating primarily on the left, Kvaratskhelia loves to receive the ball wide and isolate his marker in 1v1 situations. That's when the show really does begin. With a deceptively casual body stance and a fluttering change of pace, he beats defenders using feints, stepovers, sudden stops, and then explodes past them like they're standing still. But unlike many modern wingers who dribble just for flair, Kvaratskhelia dribbles with purpose. Every touch is calculated to shift defenders, to open passing lanes, or to cut inside onto his stronger right foot. He thrives in chaos, yet always seems in control. Statistically, he ranks amongst the best in Europe for progressive carries, successful take-ons, and shot-creating actions per 90 minutes. According to the stats, his numbers in those categories are consistently in the top 5% for wingers across the top 5 leagues. He's also incredibly two-footed. Though right foot dominant, if you want to say that, he doesn't shy away from shooting or crossing with his left, making him unpredictable to defend. In possession, he plays with his head up, always looking for through balls or quick 1-2s at the edge of the box. He can drive at the heart of a defense or float into the half space to act as a second playmaker. That positional intelligence makes him flexible. He can play inverted, wide, or even as a free roaming attacking midfielder. But what truly separates Kvaratskhelia from other wide players is his defensive hunger. He presses from the front, he tracks back, and doesn't even hesitate to make recovery runs. He's a complete winger, a blend of street football magic and tactical maturity. In short, Kvaratskhelia is what happens when raw talent meets relentless development. He's not just a highlight machine, he's a system breaker. When Kvaratskhelia signed for Napoli in the summer of 2022, it didn't exactly make the headlines. A €10 million transfer from Dynamo Batumi, a Georgian club playing in a modest domestic league, to one of Italy's most iconic teams, it kinda seemed like a gamble. Napoli had just lost Lorenzo Insigne, their local hero and longtime captain. Expectations were low. Many thought he'd be a squad player, probably like a project, a placeholder. But instead, he turned out to be a revolution. From the very first match day, it was clear Napoli had unearthed something special. Kvaratskhelia scored on his debut and then followed it up with goals, assists and jaw-dropping performances week after week. By October, the whole of Europe was watching. Under manager Luciano Spalletti, Napoli played some of the most fluid, dynamic, attacking football seen in Serie A in over a decade. And Kvaratskhelia? He was the spearhead, the chaos generator, the unpredictable dribbler who could split a defence wide open with one flick of his boot. He formed a devastating partnership with Victor Osimhen, a high-speed, high-impact connection that combined physicality and finesse. Osimhen's runs created space, Kvaratskhelia exploited it with ruthless precision. In that 22-23 season, Kvaratskhelia scored 12 goals and assisted 13 in his maiden season at Napoli, an outrageous tally for a first-year player, but the numbers only tell part of the story. It was genuinely the way he made people feel, the excitement, the awe, the sense that anything could happen when he had the ball at his feet. Naples hadn't seen that kind of magic since Maradona. It wasn't just good football, it was art. They called him Kvaradona, not out of disrespect for the Argentine legend, but because in their eyes, he brought the spirit of Maradona back to the city. And most importantly, Napoli didn't just win, they dominated. For the first time in 33 years, they lifted the Scudetto. Kvaratskhelia wasn't just part of that title-winning side, he defined it. In one season, he went from being an unknown to becoming a Serie A MVP, a Champions League breakout star, and one of the most talked about players in world football. By the summer of 2024, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia wasn't just Napoli's star, he was one of the most coveted wingers in world football. After leading Napoli to their first Scudetto in over 3 decades, his performances in the Champions League turned heads across Europe. Electric dribbles, match-winning assists, and an unteachable swagger made it clear KVARA was ready for the next chapter. Enter PSG. PSG paid a hefty sum, rumoured to be over €90 million. For some, it was a risk. For those who'd watched him week in, week out, it was a bargain. At PSG, he has slotted in seamlessly. Luis Enrique gave him the freedom to roam, often tucking inside as a central creator or switching flanks mid-game. His chemistry with Dembele became an immediate talking point, one providing the chaos, the other finishing it with lethal precision. Whilst playing for PSG, he's brought his Serie A-owned discipline and added an extra layer of flamboyance. But it was on European nights where he truly shone, gliding past defenders, pulling markers out of position, and delivering with assists and goals with casual brilliance. But beyond tactics and stats, his move to PSG was symbolic. A player from Georgia, a country rarely represented on the biggest footballing stages, was now the creative heartbeat of one of the most powerful clubs in the world. And unlike many players who lose their identity at bigger clubs, Kvaratskhelia stayed true to himself, fearless, instinctive, and relentlessly expressive. In a footballing world where sometimes people are obsessed with statistics and market value, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia reminds us that artistry, heart, and obsession still matter. He plays like the game is in his soul, and maybe, just maybe, that's why he's so damn fun to watch. Not only did he win a treble, the Ligue 1 title, the Coupe de France, and Champions League during his time at PSG, he didn't just adapt, he elevated the team. In a side packed with other star players, he became one of the difference makers. What truly separates Kvaratskhelia is his mindset. According to his coaches, he's one of the hardest working players at any club he's been at. He stays after training to practice free kicks. He watches video analysis of himself and his opponents. He studies greats like Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, always learning. He's also shown on an international stage what kind of a leader he is. He helped lead the national team to their historic qualification for Euro 2024, the first major tournament in Georgia's history. For Georgia, his performances have been just as electrifying, and Georgia would look to build on that success that they had during the Euro 2024. Khvicha remains the beating heart of the team, combining leadership with moments of brilliance that just defy logic. From Tbilisi to Naples to Paris, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia has taken every challenge head on and conquered it. He's not just one of the best wingers in world football, he's one of the most complete, most creative and most captivating players of his generation. And this is just the beginning, because Kvaratskhelia isn't just here to play football, he's here to change it.